Kia ora and welcome back to the BEIA Be On Air podcast series here at Meetings 2026. And I am your host, Hayley Holt. We've had some fabulous guests, all from New Zealand, but now we are speaking to Tanya Wick, all the way from across the pond in Australia. Tanya is the director of Troupe Event Agency and the president of the Australia and New Zealand chapter of SITE. Can you tell us a little bit more about those two companies?
Yeah, sure. Troupe Event Agency is a more traditional incentive conference and event agency. Been around, we're a relatively young company. I kind of started a new venture a couple of years ago, but been in the industry a long time myself. And SITE is actually an association, so it's a global association for incentive travel. So it's our peak body for education, advocacy, networking, etc. So I'm very honoured to represent Australia and New Zealand as president of SITE.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you must obviously get a lot of networking opportunities by doing that as well.
Lots of networking, which is great. This industry is particularly good at that, and SITE itself does provide a lot of opportunities for that as well. Yeah.
So what are you doing specifically here at Meetings 2026 in Auckland, New Zealand?
At Meetings, for me, wearing my hat of Troupe, it's really discovering what other things are, what are the new things for New Zealand, hotels, destinations. And, as an Aussie, we think we know New Zealand well, but we don't. There's so much more to discover. Scratching the surface, what's beyond Auckland, what's beyond Queenstown, even though I want to know about them too. But, there's also so much more to discover. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for more business from Australia to come across the pond, and I want to bring it. So I need to learn.
Where is that knowledge gap in Australia about New Zealand and what we can offer business events in particular?
Maybe the knowledge gap. I think in some respects maybe it's arrogance of us not just thinking that we know it, and then we realise when we get here we don't. I think there is. When you name different destinations, particularly if it's by the Maori name, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I need to kind of then look at a map and go, oh, that's the North Island or the South Island, or, and understanding the geography of New Zealand, what is beyond the, what we know of, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Queenstown. All the in-between is unknown, and I think that's that big knowledge gap there.
So what do Australian business travellers usually look for in a destination, and how can New Zealand sell ourselves to that traveller?
It really depends on the type of business that is. So the types of groups that I work with, which are incentives mainly, so corporate incentive groups, or it might be a conference as well. Those groups, they're looking for some fresh experiences. They want to have things that are unfamiliar to them. It's kind of scratching the surface and going beyond. Incentives are about pushing the boundaries and taking people on tailored experiences that they could not do if they were coming here on their own holiday.
Right.
So we kind of look for things that are very much outside the boundaries and how to make things create as unique experiences.
And so that's why something like Meetings 2026 would be important, is it? So you could actually meet those people that you wouldn't find on the internet?
Yes, exactly. And even if they've got a presence on the internet, there's nothing beats human connection, having a chat to someone in person, and then you're discovering so much more. I've learnt so much just in the couple of hours this morning about, hotels that I thought I knew and have got renovations and new rooms coming on board, and talking about what's happening and coming up in 27 and 28, because we do plan ahead. So we need to know what's happening ahead. You don't get that from the internet. You get that by having this human connection. Right. And that's what's so important.
So what's your goal here today? What are you hoping to go home with, armed with knowledge, connections, or even some deals?
Knowledge and connections deals, not so much, but more coming home with some really solid ideas that I can present to my clients that can help shape what they're going to do in 2027, 28 and 2029.
Right.
Because we do plan ahead with conferences and incentives.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming home with those solid ideas and being inspired by that, I think once I experience something in person, I know I can sell it, but if you're going on the internet or off paper, I don't know, our ability to sell it and feel passionate about it is not as strong. So once I have this human connection and this experience, I know I can go back and I can really engage my clients and get things across the line for the future.
Right. What was your first impression of coming into this International Convention Centre? Because it's a bit of a jewel in our crown, but it's taken a wee while to get there.
Yeah. I was really excited. I was excited to come here today because I have heard so much about it. I was glad to not go out to the showgrounds. And
Aren't we all?
Yeah. But I was excited to come to this space and noticing, different things, even noticing how, because it's fresh and new, but noticing, well, how is the catering being presented? What does sustainability look like in this venue? It's really interesting looking up all the trusses in the ceiling and how everything's decked out and the different activations. So it's really exciting to see this space live and being used. And then that inspires us again, because we do have, expo clients and larger conference clients. And, it's something that I know, now that I've seen this building in use, I'm much more confident in pitching it to clients.
Now, you mentioned sustainability in that. How is that impacting the industry? Obviously, there's a lot of travel involved. There's a lot of resources used. How is the industry changing in order to sort of take sustainability into account?
I would love to say it is, but I think for a lot of my clients, they're probably not as aware.
Right.
So it is something at Troupe Event Agency that we hold as, a very strong value for ourselves. So we tend to do it by stealth.
Right.
We tend to obviously offer our clients choices that involve sustainable practices, and things are rather than sustainability being something that you have to bolt on, it is actually embedded in everything that we do.
Right.
So we can't get away from the fact that we are going to travel does require miles.
Yes.
But you know what the good thing is? Like flying to New Zealand is much less miles than flying to Europe. So maybe, we can convince more clients, as they become more aware of that, and the cost does increase with aviation fuel and time as well. Maybe that's then, the other compelling reason to bring more business to New Zealand, because it's so much closer for us. It's closer than Perth.
And you can show them what they don't know about their closest neighbour.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Where do you see the big growth areas in business events and incentive travel?
Growth areas, I think it's in the way with incentives and even with conferences and events, it's about personalisation. So how can we create those human connection experiences? How can we efficiently provide a service that bundles everything?
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting everyone together in a group, but then how do we drill it down and allow everyone to have a personal experience and for them to feel like they're choosing their own journey? They're not part of this, juggernaut and getting on a coach and then everyone does this and then everyone does that. How can we break it down and have this personalization across really everything that they experience, and the flow of personalizing everything out of with a group, but then bringing people back together for that, that human connection piece as well. So I've found that for a lot of our groups that we're now, that's becoming the norm, and then that's becoming more of a growth area.
So you've obviously had many years in this industry, traveling the world, meeting people. What would be a personal experience for Tanya Wick? What would you choose to do?
for me, it's all about context. Everything. I love a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love a lot of destinations. For me personally, I need to be in nature, so I need to have something that's connected to nature. I love to be in seeing natural environments. So even if I'm staying in a big city, the fact that this morning, I walked out of my hotel and I could look at yachts in the harbour and connecting to nature. If I was, somewhere else, I'm looking at beautiful mountains. So being in nature is something that I want. Yeah. And
Beautiful.
I need. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, New Zealand's the place to do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what's your strategy here today and tomorrow? Do you have meetings lined up every hour, or are you just going to hope to come across something that you haven't even thought about?
Bit of both. So I've got some gaps. I do have a range of scheduled appointments, but you've always got to allow, you can't do everything. No, you can do everything, but you can't do it all at the same time.
Yes.
So that's where the gaps allow me to wander and discover and keep my mind open to discovering something new. But I do have my pre-scheduled appointments as well. So, good to find out the hard facts and then discover something new. And there's always something new here. So it's pretty exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us, Tanya Wick.
Thank you.